Shalom, shalom, Yasharal, shalom, shalom, Mashpacha, shalom, shalom. Trust everybody's having the most awesome fifth Yom of the Shabua. And just wanted to do a quick message on part two on what I did yesterday called Realms for the day 1025, or I'm sorry, 10/29/25. Inspired me to date the videos instead so people can remember the date. This one's 10:30, 10:30, 10:30, 25. And this one is a little bit of part two, and we're going to talk a little bit about Torah, a little bit about truth, some stuff in the scriptures that Yahuwah showed me. I always try to think of how I can best present information, what I should teach on, because usually when I get information, Yahuwah gives me, I always get like two or three different topics at once, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do one for like 10 minutes, and another, like different videos, right? I'm always thinking I'm going to do one video, I'm gonna do another video, and try to make them all like 10 to 30 minutes. And I'm like, you know, Yo was like, yeah, like it's just gonna be what it is, and I'm just gonna give you what I got at the moment. Because what ends up happening is I'll give you one video with one topic, and I'll forget the other ones. Sometimes it reminds me. The enemy sometimes distracts me and gets in the way, so I forget again. So there's constant warfare. When you see the projections going on, don't think like that's a makeup of who I am. You're just seeing the cosmic projection, the cosmic reality projected around me of the war between right and wrong. So sometimes you see Malakim Shamayim things, sometimes you see darkness. You're not seeing like me, I have darkness, I'm evil and through or something like this. I understand duality, but Barak Yahuwah, the righteousness of Yahuwah and the Ruach HaKodesh does dwell in me. What you're seeing is me fighting the evil, or in how the cosmic projection of the truth, the word, is shining out the darkness or whatnot, how they're contrasting. One part when I finally ended the word, yesterday's video about if you're like in a round table at the meeting and you're just gonna share the word at that moment because they're gonna take you serious, then they know you're gonna believe in your cause. When I said that word, and it was that Yahusha is the Mashiach, to believe, trust, and obey him, and that we're to keep Torah in him. He didn't do away with the Torah, the Torah of the Nabim. He came to raise the standard, so we still keep Torah through his nature, through his ruach, through by his blood atoning, by his blood covering. He covered our sins, so now we keep Torah with his empowerment of the ruach. And so once I was giving that part out, there was certain projection I even finally understood, because sometimes I don't always understand what I'm actually seeing, but it's almost laid out kind of like a comic book, like scene after scene. Some of y'all probably already caught on more to that than me, because I don't really look at them too much unless it really sticks out, because some of them get weird and got some like they seem to be like they're evil, but you just seen the evil being fought against. So it's just fighting. But in that one, when I said that word, it's probably the best word you can ever get. Had the strongest projection you can ever see. All of a sudden, you saw this light thing, polygram glitching in, like a malak coming through, and then you see like this dark part. It almost looks like it's two different projections, like because one is so bright, the other one is so dark background looking, but they're all one in the same realm. It's just how it's projecting how real the light is, as opposed to how vague and fake the darkness is. It almost looks like two different collages, but it's all one collage. So the light is going in, and it looks like there's like a man. You would think it's like a Yahusha, like the shofar, like the ram's going forward, like the word. But I'm like, but that's a dark entity, because it looks very well, like a person, like a man. And but then it kind of reminded me of like the sovereign of Babylon, like Babylon the Great. So it's this idea like this malak. When I said that word about when you got a chance, opportunity to share the truth, that might be when you should share with everybody, and don't deny him before men, and when you're before authority. And when I said that projection is like a comic book thing. Boom, boom, boom. I saw this light entity, and it was like a light with a fist going at this like sovereign of darkness thing. And then the next little section was like that sovereign of darkness laid out, and it was like slaughtered. And then like the other entity kept flying, and he was going into like other parts of that dark territory and dragging out other like dark entities and just prevailing over it. And I was like, whoa, that was pretty cool. So Brocky will praise you. So that all to say that I haven't done a video in the new property I'm at because I didn't have Wi-Fi. There's no Wi-Fi here, and for a good reason, because when I was at the last one, like, just getting back on sharing on Facebook, grants you the opportunity to skim and scan through Facebook to interesting. So I just looked at the Hallelujah scriptures to draw power from it, and it like cut off the video. So it's like, let me know, like, who would rather me not really be on it, because where I'm at, there's two images here. There's like that thing with the Philistines. It's like, I don't know what that is, but the roommate I have has that. I have the scriptures, and I was facing that, and my attention was subconsciously on that. So I'm like, yeah, no. So I put my attention on the scriptures, and the video just froze and paused. And I just feel I need to stick with the scriptures. Like, I'm gonna put the scriptures in front of that. So that's kind of in a physical manifestation of the cosmic projection. Like when you see all that cosmic projection, boom, this is like what's going down. You know what I mean? And so, nonetheless, it manifests physically. All that to say, part two. Like I wanted to tell y'all, like, be careful, like what you're looking at, because like, yeah. So the last properties that afforded me the opportunity to look through, but what I found is the algorithms are making things to where it's like things that would get a rise out of me, like people still, I'm messianic, I'm a messianic, like, and I'm like, no, it's not. We're not supposed to be messianic. That's messianics. It's like still Jewish traditions. Like the word incantation matters, because I met people that, like I've mentioned, are messianic, and there's a certain spirit. It kind of keeps it in that Jewish tradition, Jewish mindset a little bit, or just being a believer from a Jewish standpoint, and how the Gentiles are grafted in from a Jewish standpoint. There's different dynamics, but Nazarene is definitely the right ruach. You know what I mean? But I feel like I said, that those are things are just there to get a rise, to get me talking about, get a reaction, because I give it energy. So I'm noticing everything that gets a rise out of me, that gets a reaction out of me, gets my attention, and that I give interest to, things that I would normally respond to, give interest to, the things that are popping up, and it's always all these little things, like I mentioned about the wool and linen. It actually says like any fabrics. Is the point I was making. All of a sudden, I started seeing that popping up in my algorithms. Like someone said, it doesn't have to be 100% cotton. It can be as long as it doesn't have to be 100% material. As long as it's not wool and linen you're mixing, but other material you can wear like mixed. And like no, but I didn't react to them. Like I finally got to the point like, like you're not going to get a reaction out of me, a response. And so yesterday I was also talking about how, like, when you deny the world, deny responding to and give it your energy, because they want to give you your attention, because you feed it power. For example, I'll give you one example. Like I mentioned before, like when I was young, I used to watch like Friday and Ice Cube, and then after that, like that was one of the movies I liked watching. He got real big. He's like probably one of the successful people in the that were in the industry, that doing movies, and like in a very nice, tranquilo, smooth sailing kind of way. He has a nice, smooth track record, and he's not seeming like he's too affiliated with the Illuminati, sort of in his own world and his own thing. And I do feel like I had a lot to do with that, like putting my ruach, connected with him since I was a kid. People like Pitbull, when I was a kid, he was still underground. I put a lot of energy into him, and that's why they call it a fan, because when you're a fan, you're fanning their flame. Because what is a kukab, or what they consider, the thing, STAR, is a ball of, or sorry, a sphere of fire. See, the word plays all over those dynamics. A sphere of fire, right? And what do you do with fire to make it brighter? You fan the flame, right? So when you're a fan, it's in the wordplay. You're giving it energy, and you're fanning their flame. You're making them greater. And so it's all cosmic energy transaction. So whenever I used to like Pebola, now I understand who I am. Like who had no one seen my end. Went back to the beginning, kind of already put that in me from the get go. There was something, there was special type of signature ruach, and it's a special potent eternal type ruach, eternal energy. But I can still give it, where I see fit. And so that's why I think a lot of like my class, I talk about the 88 class of 88, people I grew up with are some of the most chill, just like laid back, like very just like tranquilo, not too into the movements that the worlds are into. We're just kind of trying to get by doing our own thing. And that's where I was with them. I was putting that, I was really into my class. I had like how about your neighbor as yourself? I had a how about for everybody in the class, white, whatever race, white, black, rich, poor. I didn't care, disabled, not, I didn't care. So I had a how about, and then that I felt like that did something, and I didn't have the truth though. So I felt like to the measure of where I was putting into them, where I was put into them, and I kind of left everybody kind of like in the air, like in wonder, like in mystery, like we're searching for something, we're waiting for something, but don't know what. And then like so, what I was talking about yesterday, you could connect, in the ruach, like boom, and then just like loosen it. So I'm doing it now as I'm saying it. I'm actually connecting to them right now, and like, hey man, it's the word of Yahuwah, Yahusha, and ruach, and the truth. It's the Bible, the word, the scriptures. Yahusha said in Matthew 5, don't think I came to do away with the law and the Torah. I came to fulfill means to fill it, to raise the standard, to lift it up. So we're supposed to do that. That'll give us a sense of purpose. That'll bring you salvation. That's the ark of salvation in the last days. Is staying in Torah. The ark of salvation is building your realm that is Torah centric. It's building your realm where everything you're doing, no matter what comes against you, you're putting up a wall to make sure you protect, to guard the Torah, to guard the commandments, that you're walking it out, and that's putting a firm foundation, a firm wall, firm, you know, all of that, posts and watchtowers against the world. So it's like getting stronger pitch and tar and whatnot, the wall, so it can float, so it can rise, and in the storm and when the waves come. And now I'm being metaphoric. I'm not talking about an actual flood, but you know. I would say Peter Pan is that parable, make the ship fly, right? Because that's all parabolic too. You can take truth in the midst of darkness like that, and it literally got overlaid in gold. Who's not going to make it so hard and complicated? He's going to put things pretty clear, little nuggets here and there. And so it was a cartoon for kids, so that that's how simple he can make it. And it's in real reality. It was like a vanity, imaginary thing. What does he say? Oh, if you think of glad thoughts, well, we think of glad thoughts in the ruach, like the fruit of the ruach thoughts. Think of like what the fruit of the ruach is, and be that according to Torah, like the lost Torah, have that, like always keep Torah, like always be mindful of Torah, and then that'll he can fly, he can fly, he can fly. That'll be what gives you the ruach, what they call the pixie dust. That'll raise you up to fly, to be raptured. Is when you're keeping Torah with all the fruit of the ruach. You're putting up your guard to make sure nothing gets you to the front to break Torah. If you break Torah, it's like putting a hole in the ship. It's gonna water's gonna come in the realm of the enemy. It's gonna pull you down. So you don't want to do that. So nonetheless, that's for you, 88. If you want to fly, you gotta keep the Torah. That's all it's about. I'm giving that to you, and it ain't like you already have the independence. One thing I had in back then was independence. We all 88 kids had our own independence, way of doing things. So I put that in all of y'all, like work out your own salvation, fear and trembling. You don't gotta be part of congregation. Just keep the Sabbath, biblical feasts, and Yahusha. Keep the commandments. Out of love for Him, and that's your ark of salvation. All right. Um, next thing I want to talk about is um, yeah, so I was talking about how, yeah, I guess I just do this one. Um, yeah, how like you give energy and things raise up. So recently, like one thought that always comes to mind, to give you a perfect example, is the Rock. Like that song "I Stand Alone" would pop in my mind every now and then because of my walk. It felt like you know, it felt like it was just me by myself, and I felt like it's like they saw into the future of my timeline that I am by myself, and then like saw maybe a glimpse. They can. It's like they're looking through crystal balls in the cosmic room, seeing little scenes, and they see probably this that I would do Nazarite vow like that, and then that. But they would see me like maybe I gave in to an enemy, and it's like I got devoured or poisoned by the enemy, allowed some kind of wicked venom of the enemy, the spider bite or something, to get in me and like consume my mind and get me all like drunk with lust or something, like in delusion. And they saw that, and they went back through time to kind of mock me, going back to my childhood timeline and making a movie about it to let me know. Or maybe who in the midst all too, like what we're gonna do is gonna have a little bit of elements like that right and wrong thing is in everything, treating not just right and wrong, and where to pull the extract the right, and that's the Scorpion King. And the soundtrack I Stand Alone, and it was by a band called uh, Ya Smack or God Smack, because I was all about God back then, and but at the sun worship. But now I understand why it's God Smack, because they're probably seeing a time when I would be smacking down the God word. So it's like it had to have like a play on words, like smack. It's more like if you're looking at an Abari reading right to left instead of left to right, or maybe this one on the camera, it would be like saying smack God down. You know what I mean? Smack the sun deity down. But I stand alone, and it's an interesting song. It's like I stand alone. You put your, or was it? You left your sting down inside me, but I'm not dying for it. I stand alone. You know, and so it's a duality because it has some dark things too, like it's trying to be rebellious, but you can turn it. It's like everything that I believe is has faded. You know, and it's like part of my natural mind wants to think that's talking about the Torah, like the scriptures, like everything I believe is fading because I'm going to this cosmic realm stuff. And it's like, no, actually, it's actually the other way. It's more like everything that I believed as far as like tradition that taught me like the law's done away with, all that is faded. Like everything that I believe, there you go. It was finally getting to me now live because I didn't think this before. That's why I didn't share it. I'm probably going to share it after this, because I'm like, oh, I can't share that because, that message can be interpreted like, um, the Torah, the scriptures that we believe now is fading, and I don't want to give that vibe. I'm like, no, no, no. It was like everything that you believed before that, the traditions and the world construct, like the way thought just natural, is fading. Like you're starting to see through it all, the ones and zeros to the matrix, how it's all orchestrated and constructed. And so, and then it says, this other part says, you know, what's the other part? The song says, yeah, I'm not dying for it. It's like everything that I believe is fate. You put your sting down inside me, and I'm not dying for it. Yeah, you gotta check out the song, and it's even perfect timing for the with the idolatry, because the some of the opening verses, like, you know, you're always hiding behind your so-called gods, female deity. So what? You don't think that we can see her face? Like we can see right through the ones and zeros, through the pawns of the harlot, the whore of Revelation, spiritual whore, and it's like all that sexual, energy in the world and all that, and those projecting it, and so that's what that is, and so we see right through and slay those. We slay those whores now, in the ruach by the word of truth. That's what it's about. And once you get there, Brock, you will. But all that to say, um, that song would come to my mind a lot back, like recently, when I found myself, like, it was just subconsciously. It was even when I was in jail. I wrote a letter to my bond, and I mentioned that, like, this song was playing in my head, like, and maybe, like, I just want to share it, like, even if you had to stand alone for the truth, so be it. Praise Yah. And maybe I saw that I'd be able to eagerly stand alone. It's refreshing actually, because you don't know who to trust, and whenever you do trust people, they got some kind of falsehood about them, and you know that but at first you put up with it just to, like, maybe they can come around, but then you realize it's all just one, you know programs pawn after another, to try to get you to compromise with their lukewarmness by in agreement. But nonetheless, I stopped finally giving attention to the rock. Like I was like, you know what? I gotta stop having that thing because I connected with him because of the people's eyebrows. See that probably an incantation, like giving him energy just doing that. But actually, I think that he got that in the timeline. Seeing that's something I do sometimes. Um, Even though it seemed like I got it from him, I think that's how they try to steal it, because that was kind of always like you know a natural thing for me to do. And so I think they saw that, and then they put it in the Rock with wrestling, and then it made me want to do it. But I would already always do it kind of already. It's kind of my thing already. So but then it tried to make me feel like, oh, that's his, so I can't do that no more. To try to get me to deny myself, like try to change the timeline for future any kind of way. But I'm not gonna do that no more because that's the Rocks. I'm like, always felt like, I think that's my thing though. But if that's the case, I'll leave it alone because I don't want to give him and like invoke any power, give him any of my energy to do that. But nonetheless, he used to be my favorite wrestler, and that song would come in my head. That used to be my favorite band. This is how trippy he is. At that time, like my cousins, that was like the peak of when I used to hang out with my cousins a lot, and they had a very distinct features, that the way they looked, their facial features, and I admired it. I liked how they looked. I liked how they had the nose and all that, like their look. I know it sounds weird, but I just admired, like, I was like, they had a cool look. I thought that was a cool look. And ironically, like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, they see the AI thing, like the algorithm seeing your thoughts, 5G technology, then they kind of market it to you to get you to give more energy. It's because they're going bankrupt, because they know Shamaim's coming down, they're taking over, so they're trying to get every energy they can to even use your own energy to weaponize it against Yahuwah. So in a way, you can be funding the wrong army just through your energy. So, but what I'm getting at is they were doing that already before 5G AI was manifested into our reality. They just now making it a thing so it's normal, but they've always been doing that. That's why it's always been there. All that to say about my cousins, me admiring them, that was when we were like the closest. All of a sudden, here comes this band, GD Smack, and the lead singer Sully, he looks exactly like them. Like he could have been one of their brothers. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? I remember thinking that back then. I was like so it made me more drawn to the lead singer, like the band, because it's like it had all the elements I liked. I was always about the word even back then. That's how much about the word I was as a kid. I liked the band just because they had the word God in it, God Smack, and I didn't understand the sun thing at the time because I didn't realize it was sun worship. I was just a kid, but I'm like, whoa, they got God in their band. They look like my cousins, So I was giving all this energy, and they're constant. And now they're doing the soundtrack for my favorite wrestler. Like this is like a fantasy come true. Like those are all like in my paradigm. Those are all the things that were the best things to me was The Rock, and then this band came, and then the two met in this, thing, because that's what I'm trying to say. They're trying to keep me sucked in, giving my energy to those realms, to the reality, and so I can be weakened, so I wouldn't be, and that can affect your biological makeup. I feel like I can discern, like, that's why I'm not as maybe strong or tall or as certain things as I should be, like Samsung. Like I felt like there was more potent Samsung type thing, but like. And I hate to use the duality on this, but eat the meat, spit the bones, like that movie Hellboy. It's like they break your horns off. You know what I mean? And so your power is like diminished, and you can think shofar horn, right? It's a shofar, so we don't think all wicked. But some of you have seen that movie, what I'm talking about. That's his power and the power of the Watchmen, but it's almost like your energy, like they take a certain amount of it and level you down. And his fist was huge, and it turned out to be a key, but he was like physically. So there's stuff like that about me, and as who was witness to me, that I understand that they took a lot of energy out of me from it, and that's why they even try to put me in lust, because they're trying to get me to draw myself out. They're like, because I think they perceive the that's like my key. You know what I mean? That's gonna be used worlds without end, straight up kind of thing. So they're trying to get me to draw myself, like sap myself up. So they create a lot of different constructs and try different, delusions out. But nonetheless, when I stopped giving my energy, like I stop being fond of the rock, like that song come in my mind, I stand alone and all that. I'm doing it now. I'm talking about it, but I'm done with it now. When I really stop, like, I'm out. I'm over it. Like, sorry, rock, I can't do it no more. Can't admire you like I used to, and all that. GD Smack Band and all that. Once I stop giving energy, that's when you've been seeing like what you've been seeing lately about the rock, right? Like how what's happening to the rock? Like he got all of a sudden he's getting like lighter, he's losing strength. I mean, yeah, he looks like he's aging, but no, something's really like whoa, quickening like his like very fast rate. He started losing a lot of weight, getting weaker and whatnot. And I knew what was going on. I looked at it like, shoot, I'm just getting my energy back. I'm going back through, barely going through Shamaim puberty. I'm a babe. I'm just a child. So yesterday, I shall say that where I was going yesterday, I was going to Black's Beach. I was gonna have a day of just me, yeah, and the sun, and everything. All things were made new again. All things restored. Because before I used to go there, and it was like the Garden of Adan, and it was peaceful. There was no kind of inclination in me. It was just perfect shalom, perfect rest. The Malakim Shamaim would come, would arrive. Males, females, naked, and be composed, chill. The birds were flying on around us, like the birds were like a counterpart extension of them. Like they were both the birds and the people at once. I can feel that connection. So it was pretty cool things to experience like that. And I'd be chilled. Like when I'm chill, they come near me because they know they can trust me. They can feel what's in you, that I don't have a weird something inside that's trying to stir up to that's gonna get weird. And so they'll like lay right next to me and be chilling. I'm chilling. I'm like, everything's cool. And so that happened yesterday. And anyways, I was so inspired. Like I'm like, man, you know what? I did something that I hadn't done since only the first time I had gone there, and I decided to just hike up the hill of the mountain naked, and then I got dressed at the top. And ironically, when I went there yesterday, the lady, this young, there's a lot of details, but this young woman I saw when I was going for a walk down at the beach when I was already there naked. She I saw her pass by me, and she looked more like one of the PB women, like just in the PB outfit. Like when I say that, they like it's like those blonde women with the ponytail, and glasses, and a hat, and like a little necklace or something, and they got like just the leggings and like the workout outfit, like with some like white running shoes or something. And they usually all kind of have that look. And so, anyways, there was one just like that right there at Black's Beach, and that's strange because usually everybody there is naked. So, and the fact that she was dressed, I knew it was like a cameo appearance from PB in a way. And I've always wondered, like, because there's a time when I was in PB that they would always come around and it'd be like this cool compose, kind of like the original Black Beach vibe, where they were like Malakim and Shamaim, it was very pure. And then until the enemy started corrupting my mind to like, you know, these are, if this is your inheritance, you might as well because every now and then I would have those temptations, where I was like, you know, waking up, feeling strong, if you know what I mean, and like I needed to alleviate it, and I would always, you know, triumph over that and prevail, not give in. I like whatever, but then like, the enemy started getting to my head, making it seem like it was the ruach, and I was like, yeah, this is yours. You might as well just use that as material, like just see how it goes one time. And then it's like you do it that one time, it's like a drug. It's like it was nice to feel that alleviation because you do get the stress relief, and then it's like, okay, cool, nothing happened. I'm gonna do it again, and then it's like, then it gets more twisted. Then they can HD all the stuff in your mind, and it's like happening in another realm. It's weird, but nonetheless, that's when like it brings in that reality too. Like also, all the women are always all. That's when they started walking around all in thongs for a minute, like what the heck? And then it's like, oh, it's just material for me. But I was creating that realm, and it was like, imagine Yahuwah coming back. He's like, what is this? Like we created that for the banquet for him, and he's like, no. And so I had to stop so that can stop and fight it because the inclination, they were already connected in me. You know what I'm saying? Like at the cellular level, like universe, little realities full of what I'm seeing, them and thongs and all that was alive in me, in my members, and that's why there was a lot of trees at that time that smelled like, um, semen, and all of a sudden there's a little origin story to them, that backstory to them. Apparently they call them cum trees, and it's like, nah, this didn't exist. I'm in alternate universe reality where it's a thing, but we're inside my junk right now in our reality. There's all these women in thongs, but that's inside of me, and that's why I'm feeling the tickle, because it's all connected. It's all one. I'm inside of myself, while I'm seeing it. They're stimulating me by watching it, stimulating me there. Like, it's all connected, and it's all, whoa, mind blowing. But I had to really overcome the sensation, and past couple of days, it tried to come back, and I overcame, and didn't give in, and it was done. And then that's when I was like, let's go back to PB. Yahuwah was like, let's go back to PB. And then it was all perfect again, Shamaim. So we regained that territory. That wasn't just to like, let's go now, celebrate. No, it's like work to do, because we had gained that territory. We had lived out, expressed the projection of what it should be like. The light there manifested there in the right way in that realm, and we overcame it. We prevailed it, and then later on they ended up, when they perverted my mind, got me to go back and pervert it and brought a perverted version of it. And so, like, imagine that movie Gilmore, right, with Adam Sandler, because Happy is the deity's name, and it's like, go to your glad place, and then there's that glad place, but then when he goes to that dark phase, which is just too frustrated, everything's dark. That's kind of like what it's like. It's like only it's really happening. It's like, imagine you create this glad place, and it's a realm, and it actually manifests for you, but then when you go to that dark place, that starts to manifest for you, and it's actually it like overrides and covers out that glad place. So now you have to start rebuilding that glad place again by prevailing over, defeating all the dark stuff. Not giving into it, and winning it over, basically, in a sense, like denying it. So I had all these people appearing in my reality that I hadn't seen in years. The past couple of days, all of a sudden, while I was just going to the store or whatnot, and I hadn't seen them in years, females and all that. Like, what? Like, how is it you pop up all of a sudden when I'm just getting over this, and then here you are, like, I'm like, nah, like, you either a demon in the flesh, you got demon upbringing. I just said it straight up, because I ain't playing this no more. And it tried to stir me up with like emotion and lust, like, kind of thing, like, somebody I used to kind of feel something for once upon a time, and I'm like, nah. And so I didn't give it in. I gave in, and then they tried again, even yesterday, Bakar. I was yesterday, Bakar. Yeah, they just appeared again somewhere random. Like, nah. And once I prevailed the second time, that's when one black speech thing, reality, to do that and do it right. And so when I went again, I saw that woman there walking through the beach who looked like a PB woman, only she was the pure version. Okay, maybe that's a play on words, pure virgin. She was the pure version that I saw originally when I went to PB before it got corrupted, and she kind of had that vibe. I didn't even pay attention to her though, because I was so connected with Yah, and that's how it was. Like, they used to just kind of watch me and come by me, and just like to be in my presence, because it's like, and now I can feel it even more, like how it really operates. Because as she was coming by, a bird was flying over me, so it's like they're always connected to some kind of like physical manifestation of the reality as they're projected into ours. And so she walked by and a bird flew over, kind of thing. So I knew, but I just kept my communication, my communion with Yah, meditating with him. We're going over some certain laws, that he was allowing me to sign off on. Because sometimes he just wants to, like, ask you, like, if you had a system, a government, how would you go about doing, like, for example, like laws concerning, like, a man and a woman that divorce, and the child, how would you do the joint custody thing, and I kind of use some of the things from my own experience, the kind of the ways it went down, and I won't share that, because I think that's more a political time, and it's between me and Yah, and maybe that'll be implemented in the new Yerushalayim if Yahuwah decided he wants to use that. But he was inspiring me, and I was just kind of like in agreement. I was just really trying to be, um, you know, right about those decisions, and like according to what is right, according to truth and whatnot. Maybe I'll share those, but in a little bit. But Nonetheless, that's when that girl walked by the PB, and I felt like, you know, at Black's Beach, and I felt like she was a Malak, just wanting to kind of like a bird, wanting to fly by the presence and be there, be near you. So I thought that was cool. And then so I'm on one side of the end of the beach by this point. I went on a long little, like almost an hour walk. The Black's Beach is pretty long. If you go down there, you can walk one side to the other. It take you about an hour. If you walk it slow and take your time, just relax, chill. So I was just in a meditative state, and I walked down one end, and that's when I saw her. And I decided to walk back to my spot. And it was like a 20-minute, 30 walk back. And as I got back, you know, I saw a woman laying next to my stuff, like a naked woman laying there. And what was interesting is that everybody, common thing to do, everybody's kind of laying, facing the same way, like kind of like, you know what I mean, like in racks, like layout, like same. Well, she was like at an angle, but next to me. I thought that was kind of weird. But Scripture says Yahuwah enriches a man, and he added no sorrow to it. In other words, he gives you tender kindnesses and make sure like when you know it's from him, there's no bad side effects. So there's a lot of things that let me know that when I went up to this, I passed by this naked woman because she was right next to my stuff, my where I was laying. Um, as I was walking by her, at first I thought it was a guy, a dude, only because I saw shorts. She was wearing shorts at first. And I'm like, oh, okay, some dude there. But then as I got closer, I just took a double take glance, and like, oh no, it's a woman because she had breasts. But the shorts was catching my eye. I'm like, oh, but okay, it's a little different. You don't usually see a woman just wearing shorts laying there. You know what I mean, with like topless, so it throws you off. So I'm like, oh man, that's like tender kindness. Like Yahuwah kind of brought that dynamic of like made me think about in Shamaim, there's no male or female, but all are one. And that's not that there's no male or female. There are. I'm understanding, but it was all parabolic. It's like saying that in the Ruach, you're there. We're all one, like in Ruach. Like male, female is not a big deal. Doesn't matter. Like though that just matters in terms of like identifying roles for reproduction. They don't even look at it like that. If that makes sense. I don't know. It's like what purpose does it serve? But in a ruach is like the more primary mind frame. Like we're all one in nature. Like the word of Yahuwah and the fruit of the ruach, and male female doesn't really matter. It's secondary, like what kind of shoes you like to wear, what kind of shoes you wear to identify. Oh, that's blue, then that's male. It's like almost thinking about like a plug. Like here's a plug and there's a socket. This gives the electricity to do that. It's almost that secondary, but what matters is the power we're trying to generate. I don't know if that makes sense, but so that's what I got from that download. I just looked at it, I'm like, oh wow, I'm like, yeah, it's like almost like tripped me out. Like that felt like it was a dude because of the way she was in shorts, but she was topless. But I couldn't see her as a woman because just the way that the shorts were, kind of like threw me off enough to make it gray, where it's like it made it cool, like oh hey, what's up? I don't know. It's just like, and Yehovah knows how to do that. He knows how to like, he knows us better than we know ourselves, so he knows how to get those reactions. It just made me like chill and down to earth, like all right, whatever, cool. Like yeah, so I just passed by, and where I laid down, the way she was at an angle made it to that when I decided to kind of glance over back at her, her head was like covering, like her backpack and her head were covering like her breast, so I wouldn't like try to hide them. And that's from Yahuwah too, because it's like he added riches, but Yahuwah give a man riches, add no sorrow. So it's like it's not gonna have a bad side effect. Like when it was from the enemy, it would have been a woman. I would have looked up and she would have been doing a yoga stretch, downward, upward, downward dog, whatever you call it, like with their butt, cat, and everything on my face. I can smell it. That's how the enemy's like, come and get it. You know what I mean? And so, but Yahuwah, like, he's modest with it. Like, he'll let you, but then you're kind of like. So, anyways, I just like, oh, cool. She's like not in a position to tempt me. Like, that's why she's at that angle, like perfect angle that would just cover like Yahuwah knew. So she's a malak. And so I just laid there and I was comfortable. And then, like, kind of like eased whatever little tension could have arose was squashed, I'll just say that. But I felt neighborly, I'm like, I had to think, man, if it was somebody, I don't know. I just want to be friendly, you know. So I decided like I laid there for about 10 minutes. I got up and I asked her. She went over to who she was and like, excuse me. I'm like, hey, I don't know if you want any snacks or anything because I brought snacks and all that. Like if you're hungry, I got some snacks and this and that. And or if you need company, if you want to like go over here, like just hang out, whatever, and just be nice though, you know. And it's like, um, I got plenty of room, whatever. And she's like, oh, I'm cool. She's like, I'm actually a teacher. She teaches at the university, and she was just trying to get away from the kids. I'm like, what? I'm looking at a teacher, but I said, just jokingly, wasn't even, being weird about it. And she's like, yeah, and I thought that was cool too, because you always meet those interesting dynamics where it's like, for example, like in the world, you have people have that fantasy, like the student and the teacher, and then yeah, in the ruach, here's the teacher and she's naked at the beach, and it's like no big deal. Like man, imagine if I was one of your students, and I'm sure that has happened. Teachers and students running into each other all naked at the black beach, because the college they purposely do that. They put the university, it's right up the hill across the street from the new beach part, and so teachers and students go there, so it's that thing. But it's like, let's see what they do with it, like that's the testing ground. And so in the ruach, it's like, oh cool, you're a teacher, and it makes you wonder, like, can you imagine, Shamayim Rome, Garden of Adan, learning things together. But and then I think we'll know all we need to know. It won't be like how we have to learn everything now, so that wouldn't make sense anyways. But yeah, all that to say this, that when I first went to Black's Beach the very first time years ago, that was the exact same thing that happened. I ended up going up the mountain naked just because I was feeling so cool about it. And when I got to the top, this this lady was there, and she was like, "Oh, look at you!" You know what's funny? I was wearing blue too. I think I had some blue shorts on. And then she's like, "You remind me of that song, Little Boy Blue," or something like that, like Little Boy Blue. And I'm like, "Yeah, what's your name? Like, what brings you here and whatnot?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm a teacher here." I'm like, "You're a teacher?" And she's like, "Yeah, I teach right there." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And that was the first time I went, and this was ironically felt like the first time I was going again. So I felt like I was replaying everything. Everything was replaying, like from the first, like all the most innocent times that I had was being restored. Like it always show me like it's all being restored. And so I meet a teacher again. I go naked again because just the way it happened. Just I moved again that way. And like I didn't even put those things together till the end. I was like, oh shoot, that's right. There was a teacher the very first time I had gone up naked too, and then she was a teacher, so it's like symbolic. Oh shoot! And then ironically, a bunch of garbage got washed up on the beach this time, right? Yesterday, there was a bunch of like for some reason it wasn't like nasty garbage. It was just like chip bag wrappers and cans and like plastic stuff, straws. Like what the heck? It's never usually like that. So I ended up going through picking up the trash at the beach and putting it into a pile off the side, and and I was like, cool, all right. And then Yeho reminded me when I first got back to Texas and I got rededicated to Yahushua again and got Kadash again. The very first thing that ended up happening, I ended up getting a job um, at this warehouse, and on the way to the warehouse, there's this pond I had to go by that's in the midst of these warehouses. Well, trash would blow like that got out from the warehouses, or the trash cans around the warehouses, and they would fly into this pond. So this pond was full of trash. And so I took it upon myself, and I went to like the dollar store or something, and I bought like a strainer, but one of those strainers that have a handle, and I bought a broom, and then so I think I bought tape, and I taped the strainer on the broom, and I used it like as a net where I can stick it in the pond, and I was just netting out, fishing out all this trash, and I collected like two big bagfuls of trash, and all the animals in the pond were coming out to thank me. Like they were hopping up, out, jumping out. The turtles and everything were all emerging out of the water, swimming towards me, looking at me. They're all just like staring at me. It was cool. The fishes, everything, the ducks, and everything were all coming near me. And that's when I made my first covenant with the animals. Like, you know what? they're aware, and I'm like, well, let there be a covenant between me and the animals, that we be at peace, and that they don't harm me. I'm not gonna harm them, like wolves or whatever. Like also, and so because I'm like, if I ever have to live in the wilderness, I want to be cool with the wild animals like the wolves and the bears that they don't eat me, and then that's when like the idea like, well, if you're eating like a carnivore, they're gonna treat you like a carnivore, and carnivores fight like if you're eating animals, why can't they eat you, kind of thing. So like, ooh, I better get eating used to eating berries then, or at least fish has been the only thing that's been kind of the gray area, and like bears eat salmon, but I don't know. I'm trying to push myself to like maybe I just need to eat rice and beans and eggs at least and whatnot. But nonetheless, all those elements are the most purest, innocent times of my chai when I was like restored and born again moments. When I came back to Texas and cleaned the pond. Also on the beach, I cleaned up the beach yesterday. First time I went to Black's Beach and my most purest time, ready to confront nudity and like the Garden of Adon. I was so filled full of the ruach. That's when I met the teacher and I went up the hill. And yesterday, that I met the PB chick like for the first time, like the way I remembered the first time I started noticing them. And they're like Malakima the Shamaim, and she ended up being next to my. Oh, I didn't say that. So that PB girl ended up walking by when I came back and saw this girl laying naked. That ended up being the PB girl, and she ended up being the teacher because when she passed by me earlier, she had the PB outfit on, but she was laying next to me. Um, she was naked, so I didn't recognize her. But remember, I said PB girls wear the little shorts, like the little legging shorts or whatever, booty shorts kind of thing, like shorts, like the long ones though, like to the thigh sometimes. And so that's what she was wearing when I said she was wearing shorts, but it threw me off. So I just looked, I don't know. And so yeah, and then I noticed she took it off too somewhere. But before I got back to her, to when I asked her, she wanted to, like some snacks. She had taken it off. What's up, man? Chilling, chilling. And so, long story short, yeah, I'm gonna go outside and do this. Yeah, yeah. You know, chill here for a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. I'm talking about some detailed things, and I'm gonna lose my focus for my own self. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, I just didn't want to weird him out. It's my roommate. Last thing I need him feels like he has to sleep with one eye open because of my stories. Last thing I need is to think I'm a weirdo. I mean, it sounds weird to the world, but this is just the truth. It's my experience. And so, check this out. I got all these weights. I've been kind of pumping them weights out too, a little bit. So, yeah, look at all that. They got they got all the kind of stuff you need to get you right. So I've been on it. You know what? I think I'm gonna have to do it right back in the room, anyways. Yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit here because my connection keeps cutting off. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. So last thing I wanted to say, I'll do another one maybe another time. Is I was noticing how everything's connected, like the realms and reality. Like I was saying, like when she went by, a bird went by. So it's like she's a cosmic interjection, but there's a physical manifestation that's like synchronized to it. And so I realized why a lot of times like those things were stirring up, like manifesting. Like when I said like that Austin Powers thing, where it's like I was at a place where I wasn't giving it my energy to anything, right? I wasn't entertaining anything. I was just cut off from the world, just in the word, and so it's like the Matrix, right? They need their energy, like your battery, right? So you gotta plug in and give them some charge, feed into it. Monsters Inc., right? Like they would power up their Matrix, spiritual, demonic, cosmic monster world by scaring kids, having thought, right? Taking energy. Then they found out making them laugh works better, but it's actually really any reaction or response that you give to the construct will power up the world. The World Wide Web is not just the internet, but it's the reality matter itself that they webbed it up, and that's why you see it on the dollar bills even. Um, but nonetheless, that's why it's got the all see nine. They see everything too. They're trying to be like, yeah. So the dollar bill, in a sense, kind of manifested and just materialized out of thin air and boom, just because of so much that they were doing from the cosmic realm, it became so alive, so real. The food ingredient label, fine print, had to manifest into the currency. It's kind of the way it works in one dynamic. And so I wasn't giving into any of it. So it's like if you're not giving into they'll just go all in. They'll kind of go hard and give you what they know you're gonna like really get into. They'll up it up a notch. Somebody was telling me last night. It's kind of like this, that there was this pastor giving this message talking about how they asked the woman, what kind of man would you like? Just a man that's working. And then so they had like these 7 doors or whatever, and 7 levels, and it's like here's door number one. Level one is like here's a man that works hard, pays bills, and they're all ooh wow, they're excited and they're like, all right, ready to see number two. Here's a man that works hard, pays bills, and he takes out the trash, right? And they got even more excited. So, and of course, different women were going up to these different doors, like they were already, going cashing in on those doors. But each one turned out to get a little bit better and better and better. So door number three, this is a man that works hard, takes out the trash, and loves kids. Door number four is a man that works hard, takes out the trash, loves kids, and he'll romance you. Five is works hard, takes out the trash, loves kids, romance you, and is rich. Like also like has a side hustle, like he works double time and has, investments and whatnot, right? And they're like really excited. And then by this time, a lot of girls were already like resting, like going on ahead and just cashing in on those. And there's only a handful of girls left, right? And so number six, I think, was like, he works hard, he takes out the trash, loves kids, he'll romance you, uh, has investments. What else was it? And then the sixth one was like he'll buy you all these clothes. He'll like splurge on you and give you everything you want. You know, he'll treat you like a queen, not just romantic, like not just take you out, but spoil you or something, right? And then so like a lot of them went into that one, and there was still a handful of women left because they thought, man, like this is as great as it gets. Like what else could be better? Like wow, like I want what's the best is. It's only because the thing is like you can't go back. So once you go to the next door, you can't go back. So that's why a lot of women were kind of like, I'll just stick with this. So then they're at door number 7. They're like, are you ready? And then so they get to the 7th door, the 7th level or whatever. They open it, and there's nothing there, no one. And the women are confused, like, what's this? They're like, this level is for those women that shall never be satisfied. It's never gonna be enough for them. And so they don't got no man. you know, and all that to say that that's the way the reality projections work. The Monsters Inc. construct, the Matrix construct. If you give in already at like like you're into cigarettes, you're into drinking, you're into pornography, you're into watching movies, the sports, you're into just the financial gain in thing paradigm. You're into the traditions, the false religiosity, the spiritual, false delusion, the false constructs, the narratives, the politics. You're into all that. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like they already got you in those. It's like on a reverse though, right? Like a duality, because they're trying to get you to give into one of those to take your energy. They want you to go in there. If you don't give into any one of those, each door, each level, they go harder. So that's why I see all the cosmic stuff going on, because I kept like denying everything the world had to offer me. Like, well, you're gonna end up homeless then. Like, cool, so I didn't need it. I just need the word. So then that's when like their version of door number 7 instead of giving me nothing, because if they give me nothing, I won. I denied the world and I got the word. I got Yahuwah Yahusha, and they can't mess with me anymore. So now they up it up and they kind of like they kind of operate out of reality. This is when they start bringing in cosmic interjections because you're above reality. You're above the normal. They can't get you with the normal world. You basically overcome you already triumph the world. You triumph the natural realm, the natural world, natural. So it's kind of a great witness that you're already done. You've overcome it all. You triumphed it. You're able to just prevail, and like this was even prevailing because a natural man would have been like, oh, let me get off because I'm going to be kind of embarrassed to talk about this because I'm kind of like embarrassed to say these things. Like, you know what, this is the truth. I'm going to just say it here. And it's like, you decided to leave because you don't want to hear it. But it's like, it was in the means to shut me down because it's supposed to make me like, oh, I got nowhere to share it. I'm just going to call it. But this is where I was about to get to my most important part. So then they start interjecting cosmic realities into your paradigm. They start going supernatural. You've overcome the natural realm, but now they're playing dirty. Now they play supernatural realm, cosmic alternate universe realities into your world. And this is where Yahusha says, greater works than these you'll do. You're going to have to overcome greater things. And so this is where your consciousness, they take it from that natural realm, that universe, and now you're projected. You don't feel the switch, but you just travel like what they call it, teleport. Like you teleported to another universe. I'm not just talking about your consciousness, but you in a sense teleported to that alternate universe reality. It's another version of you that your consciousness went into that they're all connected to with the same information, same experiences. Boom, and now this one, same layout, but different things that they have power to do. Like they run these realms. So this is where you start seeing those. The Amazonian women is what I call them because they're against you. They're she women ready to fight you, and they came out with Austin Powers. Like they started like dancing when I was like they start doing all kinds of things. They'll just start coming out of everywhere trying to get your attention. They'll give you your fantasies, like whatever to sell out. Like they do supernatural temptations, like things I can't mention. And that unfortunately, but it's real. And that was in a way one of them. Like, I got amped up about the inheritance, and I was singing about it, but their version is, and I shouldn't say Jerusalem, my bad. Forgive me, I should say Yarusha now, because no J in Abadi. So, I was like, I was singing to them, trying to like pretty much taunt them, but in a way it was kind of like, I don't know, like they're trying to, I guess they're trying to mock me back, like still trying to tempt me, because I was like, I thought I was still talking to natural realm people at this time. I didn't understand, so I thought I was talking to people. I didn't realize I was in another realm, so I was trying to talk to them like, you gotta take hold of New Jerusalem and take this eternal righteous seed in you and raise up children to New Jerusalem. Then you'll be saved from destruction. Then you'll be saved from the judgment. Then you'll be saved from destruction. Then you'll be saved from the judgment. If you take hold of New Jerusalem and take this eternal righteous seed in you and raise up children to New Jerusalem, then you'll be saved from destruction. Then you'll be saved from the judgment. Then you'll be saved from destruction. Then you'll be saved from the judgment. And so I was just singing this, and me and another dude and another person I was with at that time. Don't know if he's a dude or what, because he could have been Satan in the flesh, inspiring all this power. Because then when I started singing that, the girls were just coming out like the Austin Powers in seeing the what do you call it, the opening scene where it's like he's dancing, all the people are dancing. It was like literally like that, like the entire city community were all dancing. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And so that was them kind of telling me like I was in another realm, and there's nothing. I wasn't maybe even talking to real people, but maybe I wasn't subconscious. What I started understanding was like how I talked about in the other video, that when you speak to people, it's like they act as a conduit that speaks to that high mind. So like, even though, all right, so this is really what it is. I'm gonna say it in a different way. I understand like these different realms that I'm operating in. it's like I'm just a living thought, and it's like materialized in a physical realm, but I'm just a thought projecting. So I am the thought with feet of the thought, the inspiration made flesh in the cosmic realm that is sending the thought to them in the cosmic realm, or like through the cosmic realm, but I'm sending the thought to the people on their subconscious, and so they're thinking about everything I'm saying, right, telepathically, and what I'm experiencing is I'm actually that thought. I'm actually that telepathic entity made flesh, walking and actually telling them at the cellular level. Like I'm experiencing myself, what I want to tell them in my mind, but then it materializes where I can actually tell them, I say it to them, but it's actually me. I'm doing it even now. That's why I see all that cosmic stuff. It's actually me. Like when I go and tell them, I'm just a walking, talking thought, and I'm transmitting that. When I'm transmitting that information, it's at the cellular level, like I'm a cell, and I'm talking to their subconscious cellular levels, their little thought manifestation, cosmic reality. Like we're all cosmic entities, right? But it's just like in the form of flesh. Does that make sense? We're cosmic. We're our cosmic thoughts projected in the flesh, but it's really the primary is the cosmic thought realm, and I'm telling people, but really I'm just a cosmic. I'm a thought speaking to their thoughts. I'm a subconscious thought talking to their subconscious thoughts, and so the person I'm talking to is a reflection of the person in the natural realm receiving that thought. If that makes any sense. Does that make sense? So that's why they can dance and get like that, because it's like they're a manifestation of their what they feel inside of their emotion. Like in the natural realm, they're just walking, but maybe deep down inside they feel like dancing. That they would like to just kind of do that kind of thing. Well, I'm operating in that realm. My consciousness went to that realm, so they do all that kind of stuff. But I speak the word to them. So when I speak the word to them, their subconscious inner thought versions of themselves, they're hearing my words. So it's like they're an extension, a counterpart. They're an extension of their natural realm self. So now their natural realm version of themselves is picking up what I'm putting down. Like they're understanding the truth, because I'm actually I'm speaking to all of them. When I speak to a handful, it's like enough, because it's like they're all connected in that realm, if that makes any sense. But nonetheless, like I was talking about, like, seeing the PV teacher, and when she walked by, the bird flew at the same time. It was connected. And that was cool that I ended up going to my spot, ended up being her, and she was naked right next to me. All the long miles of stretch of the beach she could have picked. Right there, Yahuwah, she wanted to be next to me. Praise God, Malaka the Shamayim. And so, nonetheless, yeah. So what I started noticing, too, is the way it works. Is like, it works that way even on the side of the enemy. Because when I was sitting there on the beach in the Word. Every time I get alone and my mind gets like shut in, where I'm just in the Word and the Ruach, that's when helicopters start flying over me, and like loud noises, fire trucks, ambulance, things break out, like to want to take your attention to like see what's going on. And the reason why that is because the enemy can see all the alternate universe versions of yourself around you. Like they see all those different realities, but they don't know what of those ones are actually the real you, the one that is triumphing. It's that is going to overtake eternity. That's going to enter in. The real one. Like it's like Matrix. You remember Neo? He got all the reactions going on with the TV where he's with the engineer, and it zooms into the one that he chooses. The one that he's choosing his path, like how things play out. Well, that's what the enemy's trying to do. They're trying to choose the one you've chosen, because that becomes the real you, with the substance, and they want to pull you out and slay you. They want to take that energy and draw you out and like kill your energy and like keep you from connecting to the eternal, the Shamayim above. And so what they're trying to do is when you get in the word, you're hidden in Yahusha. So they don't see your light shining no more. They see all the different realities, the projections throughout the TV screens, like Neo in the Matrix. Imagine only one of those is shining though. Like all the screens are pretty much playing the same way, but only one of those screens are actually like lit up brighter because that's the one that you're actually choosing to reflect, choosing to have your identity wrapped up in, right? That's the choice you're making. So that's how it is. But when you so imagine all of them are projecting you reading the word, but when you put your mind on Yah, it actually hides your light. That's what Scripture always talks about. Like, you're hidden in Him. You're hidden in Messiah. These were all parabolic coding. Like you speaking in codes. But through the Ruach, He makes it known to us. So we're hidden. So He makes sure that they can't find us. They see all the different realities, but they don't know which one's really us. And the other parabolic picture, the parable that Yah gave me, is like Bruce Lee. You remember the Enter the Dragon, where he shatters the glass. They go into at the end scene where it's all this room, a bunch of mirrors, and so he's seeing all these Bruce Lees, and he's seeing all the enemy, and he's trying to figure out what of the reflections is actually the real Bruce Lee. So he's kicking the glasses, to see what one remains. Like you'll kick a glass and he sees the real Bruce Lee, but then the real Bruce Lee hops into another little hall of glasses, and so there's a bunch of Bruce Lees again where all the glasses are showing a bunch of Bruce Lees and a bunch of him. So, and they're trying to figure out what are the ones are the real ones, and that's how it is too. Like when you're hitting the Yahusha, they see all those. It's like you're in a glass room. I think they even show the same dynamic in one of the Doctor Strange ones. Though, was it the Multiverse of Madness one? Same one with the witch. I don't like to say that word. That's why I don't say witch. I say that. But the sorceress, the witch. I only say to actually say the witch. But in that one, I forgot the name of the witch was called, but the something witch. But she creates like this. So they're trying to hide from her because she has demonic power to do this very thing. You see, they're actually showcasing that spiritual warfare. She's trying to catch them to like kill them. And so Doctor Strange has to come in and help protect them. So he creates this like alternate universe reality realm where they're in this realm of glasses, and it's all these projections of them, and she don't know what one of them is the real one, And so she has to use water to make it do something. It wouldn't be that worth it to watch it, but just to get the idea, that's how we're hidden in Yahusha. Right, so we have all these reflections of like imagine all these mirrors of the same thing being projected. Where it goes on forever, or it's like all like in a room full of mirrors of you, and so they're all doing the same thing, and the enemy don't know what one of those mirrors is the real you, So what the enemy has to do is he has to draw you out. So he'll create a distraction. He'll create something. How do you say? He'll create entertainment, right? Like something interesting, something entertaining to draw you out, something to get your focus, right? Your energy, your attention. So he'll create a helicopter flying over you, not like military helicopters, something crazy. Because once you get that attention, like whoa, what's going on, and like you got your attention on it. Then it's like your light starts shining out, like the mirror that's the real you starts to glow, and then they can finally just like focus and go in on you to like to afflict you, to harm you, to like take your energy and weaponize against you, whatever, to go into that reality and put stumbling blocks around you, make things go bad for you, kind of stuff, and get your mind off of Yah, go into that reality that's lit up and interject your temptations, things that tempt you to kind of like bring you down and get you lost in chaos, get you lost in the dark realms where Yahusha can't see you, and because you chose to give into it anyways, and you're not in Him. So when everything's destroyed, it's like if you're not in by this time, it's like, oh well, it's like how they call it, musical chairs. Like when that song's done, you better be jumped in the seat, one of his seats, you know. And so, because the enemy will try to pull you off the seat, you know. And so, in that sense. So what ended up happening was I tested it because I noticed they always do that when I get in the word, and I just had that intuition about it. So, but nonetheless, I was in the Ruach and I was having deep meditations. All of a sudden, military helicopters came, and all of a sudden, as I looked down, I saw an ant coming, and what they actually used was like this woman came by. Every time I got up, I was laying down. I just randomly got up to look around, and there just happened to be a woman walking by that I didn't hear, didn't feel, but they knew, like they saw. I don't know if they put that charge, gave me the urge to want to get up and look around or what. Maybe downstairs too. Like they can give inclinations, and eventually you'll give in. Like, you know what? Yeah, let me get up and roll over. But every time I happen to look over, there just happened to be a woman like doing something trying to get my attention. And as I look, and those do come with the temptation, you know. It's like, whoa. And all of a sudden, it's like things get darker, something close. You can feel something happening, but then you take your shift, you shift off of it. You like take your focus off so they don't find you. They're just starting to zoom in, but then you kind of hide back again. But they start to go on a roll. Like you'll notice a pattern, like a domino effect. So the woman came by, and I looked from it, but I looked away. But then they're already bringing the helicopters. I saw an ant crawling up towards me, and before there was no bugs, and I tested it. I did it just to try it. The ant was looking around like he didn't know where to go. He was just going in circles, just kind of la 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 la, just being a random, wandering ant. Well, as soon as I put my attention on the helicopter, I looked at it and gave it energy, like put some focus on it. All of a sudden, the ant redirected its focus at me and started crawling up towards me, like crawling towards me. And I'm like, I knew it. So, like, in a sense, like the ant and the helicopters are one. They're like related cosmically. Like, in a sense, like the helicopters is really just a 3D hologram projection with noise, but it's cosmic, done to like get you to give it attention so that they can zoom and find you in the natural realm or wherever you are hidden in one of the realms around you to really go in and it'll manifest something in the natural realm to harm you. In this case, it was the ant. Because as soon as I put my focus on the helicopter and looked at the ant, then the ant was running towards me. And as soon as I took my focus off the helicopter, put it back on Yah, the helicopter started turning towards me too. It started like slowly kind of swaying towards me as the ant was. The ant jumped on me or crawled on me, and I put my focus back on Yah, and I like, forgive me, Yah, I took my focus. Like I can feel the energy, like giving it off, like giving it back to the enemy, like giving it back, like so it can stay connected to me. Once I did that, the helicopter and the ant turned around. Like the helicopter started turning around, like it couldn't see me. And even the ant, the craziest thing happened. It jumped off like you thought it was a cricket, like almost like an angel, malak in the invisible. I couldn't see it, like flicked it off of me, but it's like something just like shocked the ant right off of me. At that very moment, I put my mind back on Yah. The helicopter turned around. The ant just bounced off of my arm all of a sudden. Like what? It was like the little kid in Jurassic Park. Like he just got electrocuted off of the fence. And I was like, man, this stuff is real. And so, and that's how the enemy operates. He'll try to create even like counterfeit versions of the truth. He knows what the truth is, because it's written in the stars, it's written in the cosmos. They know prophecy, not Ba'u. So he'll try to go and try to, before the timeline actually takes place, to bring in what he's coming to fulfill. He'll already go in before that and try to mess it up, to try to pin that tail on his donkey to make it look like it belongs to, it belongs to the enemy. He tries to claim for himself, but he does it pinning it to different ideologies and cultures and whatnot, so that we count the truth as a lie. You know what I mean? Using wordplay and all kinds of different things, And I've experienced a lot of that. And nonetheless, it's just the enemy counterfeit, because I experienced it in my reality. Like I said earlier, the movie The Scorpion King, played in my reality when I was a kid, and then later all these things would happen later on in my future, my timeline, where I got demonically afflicted, and it poisoned my mind and in delusion. But I took a Nazarite vow, I grew my hair, and just little things as like reflective of like the Scorpion King, and then the God smack. I don't say that word. I smack it down. And it's like, whoa, like I ended up fulfilling all these things that were in the movie, but they were already trying to interject that and put the substance into the movie before I can even claim it into my own reality. You know what I'm saying? So that's how the enemy operates. He tries to take rights over things that the scriptures talk about before the scriptures even get to fulfill it. Because it's all Thanos universe, alternate universe realities. They try to go in and switch the timeline and this and that and mess with it. But at the end of the day, light always wins. The word is truth. So praise God. So with that, I bid y'all farewell. Just wanted to share that. Whatever you get from that, that's how it's operating. A lot of things that trying to give your energy, trying to take your energy, be aware of that. Don't give it any energy, and watch how they try to up it up, where they're gonna try something almost too true, almost too unreal to be true. Don't even look at that. You see something in the sky, signs and wonders. All of a sudden, don't give any attention. Before you know it, they'll have like whatever your fantasies are appearing. If you don't have any fantasies, whatever, they'll have an angel of light and with wings appear to you and try to get you to join them on some mighty quest to do. It'll be like real, but it's like they'll try to, if they have to go under the belt and go supernatural because you're not giving into anything that they're trying to project in the natural, then they shall do it. And that's what I have experienced in my past. And they did some things that were just, I can't even say it because then it's not inappropriate, but they're really trying to make it seem like entities from other realms coming here projecting as people and hiding in the flesh and all kinds of stuff too. But nonetheless, don't give the world, Monsters Inc., your energy, because they're trying to use that energy to weaponize it. They want to make you weak, because they know a lot of us are gonna be like fire for the stubble. That's how we get our ruach. It's like we have to work out our own strength, work out our own salvation spiritually. So we have to preserve our energy, our oil right now. Because you give your energy to anything in the world, distracted, all that stuff is coded. And once you make that connection with it, there's an exchange. You're giving energy, and they're giving you back like some dumbed downness, some fogginess, they're robbing your passion. All of a sudden, like you have the passion, the desire to want to read your word, but not enough to actually do it. Like, man, I want to read it, but I'm not really, And all of a sudden, like, watch when you do overcome prevail these things and don't give in. They'll try to distract you some. Don't even give into it. All of a sudden, you find yourself being able to open up that word and read through it like nothing. So they're robbing your energy. It's like you only have X amount of energy to work with. Where are you gonna put it? So you put in the word, you're gonna get what you put in. You're gonna get that substance, that oil, and that eternal strength to be the fire for the stubble. But if you're giving it constantly away to the world construct, and when it's time to suit up, you're not gonna have enough energy, enough oil, enough ruach to suit up. To endure the fire and the flames. So you got to give everything you have now to the word, and let that give to you the eternal strength, the fire, the ruach, for eternity. So that's it. That I bid you farewell. Shalom, shalom, Yasharal, shalom, shalom, Mashpaka. Yahuwah Barakatah, favor you and increase you and guard you and protect you and strengthen you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you, be compassionate and favorable towards you. Yahuwah lift his countenance and his presence and essence upon you, give you shalom and fill you with all the fruit of the Ruach, that will be a light to the nations and a light to one another, that we sharpen each other as iron sharpens iron, that we may prepare each other to be a perfect, spotless, pure virgin bride, prepare for Adanainu, Walahainu, Malkiainu, Mashiachainu, Aishiainu, Yahusha Mashiach, that we may be worthy to enter the marriage wedding supper of the Lamb, to be brought into his chambers, that would be a God of one, that we abide in him and him in us, abide in you in us, and be Tamim as you are Tamim. For you are Yahuwah, Makiahusha, Ruach HaKodesh, to make us Tamim in your image. So, Paladin, petition these things Have Yahuwah Makyahushua and Dua Kakudash praise and Buddha gratefulness by the power of the Dam of the Shah, the renewed covenant by your power and authority, Makyahusha Mashiach, Adonai Walahainu, Adani Walu, Duru Duru Dur, Aman Waman Waman. Allah Yahuwah Yahusha. God, I bid you farewell. Shalom, shalom, Yasharal. Shalom, shalom, Ashpacha. Shalom, shalom. Oh, one last thing. Now I remember. No one make that another video. Shalom.